All right, let's bring in Doug Flynn, talk about all of this, certified financial planner, Flynn Zito Capital Management. And, Disney just came out. It was interesting. I was just looking down to look at their earnings report with the quarterly earnings report. And a couple of things here. First of all, Disney's been cutting costs like crazy. They've cut a lot of jobs. That's going to continue. I think they want to save like $7.5 billion more in annualized cost efficiencies, as they say. So that's how that's business talk for could be more job cuts, I suppose. And they say that streaming is getting better. They're still losing money, but they're not losing as much. What do you take away from that in the position Disney is in as a company right now, what their next step might be?
I mean, they're trying. They rehired their old CEO last year, and basically they're trying to turn the company around. If you think about it, the stock is down about 16% when the market's up about 16%. And it's more volatile than the market. So, it has that brand name that it has, but they have these pieces and it's legacy media with all this debt, and they have to do a lot of work to really get this thing to where they want to. And that's the ultimate goal for them, is to turn the stock price around and improve everything across the board. So they're making all the cuts and everything they can do around the edges, but it just hasn't translated yet. So you could actually look at that as maybe perhaps an opportunity if you love that stock as an entry point now where the rest of the market might be much higher price.
What would you do if you were Disney? Would you sell something big like ESPN or do something? What should they do?
I mean, that cash that comes from those areas of the company, it's really hard to sell that. Yeah. It's a short-term solution. I think, we've got to give Iger a chance to really go through and do all that he's going to do before we can make those kind of decisions. I don't think they're going to sell off any large asset. They're actually buying the part of Hulu that they don't own from Comcast, so they're going that way with it. I think later on, if it doesn't turn around, they're going to have to do those things.
Yeah, and for now, Bob Iger, who, as you say, is back as CEO, trying to get costs in line and more cost cutting to come. All right, another story today. The city of Houston, a new list is out, and the city of Houston was voted as the best city in America for international business. I think Miami was at the top of this list, but it's kind of interesting to see Houston. What's so great about Houston and international business, Doug?
Yeah, I think that when you look into this, they do have a huge international hub. They're the energy capital of the world, if you will. So they have a very diverse population, and so that's a big draw. It's interesting to me if you pull back a little bit and you look at the top 6 cities. You have the top 5 up there right now. A number of them are in Texas, and then a little bit further down, there's a lot in Florida. New York City and Boston make the list from a legacy perspective, but most of these are in those lower tax, lower cost of living places where people can actually come here from around the world. And also companies that have a global presence like to have that kind of international exposure. So those cities are a big draw, no question.
I'll tell you, the city that international companies love to do business, not in this country. Yeah. Ireland, Dublin, Ireland, because then you got the really low taxes. I'm biased in favor of the Irish, as you know. Last thing, in Amazon's quest to take over the entire world and do everything for all of us, this was an interesting story that came out today for Prime members. A lot of people are members of Amazon Prime. They are going to start offering health care to Prime members for I think it's like $10 a month or something like that. But what do you make of Amazon going in this direction?
So they've been trying to crack this for a number of years to get into healthcare and really take over that piece of our lives, as you say. And so what this is they bought a company, and the company charges $200 a year. And what they're going to do is bundle this, if you're a Prime member, to make it $99 a year. But I think for the people that are already on the program, it's basically like a virtual doctor app. So that helps. I think more access to healthcare is a good thing. We have better results when people are more engaged with their healthcare. But whether or not Prime members that are already there are going to spend the additional $99,
right?
I don't know how many of those people are, unless they do something like, here's 6 months for free or a year for free, try it out. That's the only way I see this actually working from that perspective. But this is all about getting the 200 million Prime subscribers to even more, 250 or 300 million Prime subscribers paying, I think it's $139 a year now that we all pay.
Right. It's just about this way that there's something sitting on your doorstep every single day when you come home. If you are like us and subscribe to Amazon Prime, somehow that happens. But now maybe a doctor will be sitting there. All right, Doug, thank you very much. We'll talk to you again soon. Doug Flynn on the Business News with us today.